A global namaste to all the lovely souls, the entire family of IBG, and our very special guests. We truly take this honor of welcoming all of you, and it's absolutely our pleasure to have you guys with us early this morning. Today is very inspirational talk, something which is going to motivate us to change our lives forever. So this entire 1 hour, please have your mind, heart, and soul with us, and it is completely going to be a miracle for all of us. Towards the beginning, on behalf of India Business Group Chamber of Commerce, I take this opportunity of heartily welcoming each and every one of you. India Business Group is a non-profit organization, and it's definitely gone international since the past few years, giving us the international exposure, making sure all our visions turn into reality. And the founder of India Business Group, our gentleman, our business guru, who had this vision of really helping all those who plan to get into startups, or all those who want to excel in their careers but look forward to the ways of finding and fulfilling their vision. And that is how India Business Group was founded by our founder, Dr. Vikash Mitra-Sen, who's a very renowned author, of course, a business guru.
Keeps on insisting on saying Dr. Vikash.
Yeah, I always say doctor because of your expertise. I always, naturally, I say doctor, so I don't have to even look anywhere because I know you so well, and the kind of expertise and the help that you give to everyone. I'm sorry, but it's not the honorary doctor yet, but it's going to come pretty soon, right after the lockdown. So I take this opportunity of welcoming our chairman and managing director of Nazara Technologies, a very young and handsome radio jockey on radio. And before I go ahead and get bombardings from Mr. Vikash Mitra-Sen, maybe please humbly welcome our Honorary Consul General of Mali, Mr. Vikash Mitra-Sen, please.
Thank you, Simran. As usual, you go over the top. I hope people understand it's not all exactly as you say. Anyway, I'm very excited to have Dr. Mustafa today to speak with us. I meet him every time I'm in Dubai, which is almost every 2 months. We have a special place where we go and meet, where I can have a drink and he can have his milk because he doesn't drink. But I'm looking forward to see him again. I'm going to Dubai on the 1st, Dr. Mustafa. I'll see you there. Thank you very much. Let's get on with it.
But our IBG webinars will still be on, my dear lovely friends, IBG family. So it's going to be all the more better because Mr. Vikash is going to be in Dubai. So thank you so much. Maybe please welcome our very dynamic CEO who really makes all the ends meet and help us excel in our endeavors. Maybe please welcome Ms. Priya Pansare. Hello, Priya.
Yeah. Hi, good morning. Good morning, everyone. And special good morning to Mr. Saasa. He had come to our office last, I think 2 years before when this all started. We had exchanged MOU also during that time. And you should all know that he's the first person who produced the dark mode interactive and electronic coffee book. So let's hear from the host today, and quite looking forward to this session. Thanks a lot, Simran. Over to you.
Thank you, dear Priya. And now, my dear lovely friends, respected ladies and gentlemen, I'm truly delighted to welcome Dr. Mustafa Saasa, who's a prominent Indian business magnate, social philanthropist, a renowned corporate speaker, mentor, mindset, and leadership coach, certified by world's #1 leadership coach, Marshall Goldsmith. Dr. Mustafa helps leaders and CEOs increase their results by working smarter in today's economy scenario. Dr. Saasa is continuing his business legacy since 1958. He's a serial entrepreneur having diverse business experience internationally and very known for his CSR work in education. Well, my dear lovely friends, the chairman and managing director of Raj Group of Companies of Dubai, UAE. He's a chairman and managing director of Salesforce International LLC in Dubai and Sharjah Enterprise Private Limited in India. It's Sarar Raj Enterprise Private Limited in India, qualified masters in emotional intelligence and criminology from the UK, and PhD in leadership from the University of Colombo in 2014. In 2017, my dear lovely friends, he's been conferred with the honorary doctorate in social science by the Medicina University in Colombo. Dr. Mustafa is General Secretary in Dubai Chamber of Commerce for BMTG and the UAE chapter of Gujarat Chamber of Commerce and Industries. He's been awarded Mahatma Gandhi Pravasi Samman in House of Lords, London, by the British government and conferred with the Bharat Samman Award in New Delhi as well. And India's most influential leader of 2017. May we please welcome Dr. Mustafa Saasa. Assalamu alaikum, Dr. Mustafa. And I must say, shukran to you for your humble presence. Truly an honor for all of us here. On behalf of the India Business Group Chamber of Commerce, we welcome you from all our heart and soul.
Thank you. Thank you, Simranji. Thank you, Mr. Vikas, for giving us this platform and a wonderful audience today from Bombay and internationally. So I take the liberty to start the presentation now. Slides shared. Today's good morning, good afternoon, good evening from whichever part of the world you are joining. Today's topic of impact of a good situational leader in an organization is a very important topic for an organization to excel. We will see the different dimensions on the leadership on different levels, which will help organization to go on the next level. This is one of the most proven model, and this is one of the proven methodology to excel. While there are many different ways and many different methods to do this according to the task and the job of the company. What do you think a situational leader is? See, in an organization, there are different layers of HR. Like in a construction industry, if you see, the supervisor is a leader of the laborers. Then comes the manager, then comes general manager, then comes a director, then managing director, then comes a chairman. Now, and many more in this within this hierarchy as well. Now, if all these leaders on the different levels, if they are very motivated and are good leaders on this different level, what's going to be the impact on the organization? Because this is a chain. So if it is called the strength of the chain is measured by the weakest link in the chain. So if any point of time, if any point in the hierarchy, if the leadership is weak, that will weak the both ends in the leadership. Why it is important? The leadership, situational leadership is important. The statistic says that only 18% of the global leaders today achieve both their short-term performance objective and effectively building foundation for the long term. Because for a leader, it is very necessary, it is important to achieve the immediate requirement of the job, and also as a leader and as a visionary to build foundation for the long-term growth of the company. So only 18% are achieving this. That means that a huge gap of 78%, which are struggling because of the lack of certain qualities within them. When I was studying leadership, I came across, I studied many top leaders of the world, almost all the top leaders of the world. And some of the stories which has touched my heart. And one of the story I will narrate, is the story of NASA. Every company has a vision and mission statement, fantastically written, and it takes many a time, a lot of time to boil down on a vision and mission statement. Then it's written in the copper plate, hanged on a wall, but it's gathering dust. This vision and mission statement, many a times you have seen that it doesn't come in life. So it's very important that you should be aligned with the vision and mission of the company. The story of the NASA is a very fantastic example. How the alignment of the vision and mission disseminates to the last person in the organization without diminishing its values. as Russia was the first country to send man in space, it became a credibility issue for United States. So they came out with a mission on moon in early 60s. And one of the JFK's dream project, just before one of his periodic visit to NASA, he saw a person cleaning the floor. JFK directly asked him, "What are you doing here?" And that person's answer can be written in golden words in stone. He could have said that I'm mopping the floor, I'm cleaning the floor, or I'm sweeping the floor. But his answer was, I'm helping sending man on moon. Every person's objective and every person's task on that mission was aligned with sending the astronauts on the moon. Such kind of alignment of the job is nowhere seen in other tasks. So this is one of the very, very touchy story which I'm sharing. And the alignment of the vision and mission has to be very, very precise. Otherwise, what happens, the strategies are made on the top. And by the time it goes down in the hierarchy of HR, it diminishes its value. It becomes like a Chinese whisper. So what started on the top and the message goes down in the bottom is completely different, and it doesn't connect at all with the mission and vision. So it is very important to have alignment of vision and mission. Some of the companies in Europe, I know, every morning, every employee, when they come to the office, they have to handwrite, the vision and mission statement every day. It's like the peanuts of the company. You need to embed this in your culture. So once you do it repeatedly again and again, so it comes in your culture. The alignment of the vision and mission is very important. I will tell you about a very small story. Probably, one part of the story we all have learned and studied in the primary school. Many a time we learn fantastic values from the basics. And this is a story of the rabbit and the turtle.
Once upon a time, a turtle and a rabbit had an argument about who was faster. They decided to settle the argument with a race. The turtle and the rabbit both agreed on a route and started off the race. The rabbit shot ahead and ran briskly for some time. Then, seeing he was far ahead of the turtle, he thought he'd sit under a tree for some time and relax before continuing the race. He sat under the tree and soon fell asleep. The turtle, plodding on, overtook him and soon finished the race. Emerging as the undisputed champ, the rabbit woke up and realized that he'd lost the race.
This part of the story, we all have been grown up with. Like slow and steady wins the race. It's a saying always, we repeat on many occasions. I will throw a further dimension on this story where we can see how the things changes further, and you will see in the next part of the story.
Pointed at losing the race, and he did some thinking. He realized that he'd lost the race only because he had been overconfident, careless, and lax. If he had not taken things for granted, there's no way the turtle could have beaten him. So, he challenged the turtle to another race. The turtle agreed. This time, the rabbit went all out and ran without stopping from start to finish. He won by several miles.
In this part of the story, we learn that fast and consistent is always better than slow and steady. It's good to be slow and steady, but it's better to be fast and consistent, reliable. We live in a digital world right now. Earlier, 20, 30 years back, 40 years back, the product life cycle was very long. One product introduced in the market used to last for 5, 7, 10 years. We have seen in our automobile that Ambassador and Premier Padmini, they never changed their model until they vanished from the market. So that thing was the life cycle was very long. Now, the life cycle of the product has shrunk to months or even sometimes days. So the versions and things come so fast. In the mobile industry, it's about the smartphone comes every 3-4 months, a new model. So fast and consistent is always better than slow and steady. So now, the story still doesn't stop here. I will show you another dimension of this story, which is, more interesting.
The turtle did some thinking this time and realized that there's no way he can beat the rabbit in a race the way it was currently formatted. He thought for a while and then challenged the rabbit to another race, but on a slightly different route. The rabbit agreed. The turtle and rabbit started off. With his self-made commitment to be consistently fast, the rabbit took off and ran at top speed until he came to a broad river. The finishing line was a couple of kilometers on the other side of the river. The rabbit sat there, wondering what to do. In the meantime, the turtle trundled along, got into the river, swam to the opposite bank, continued walking, and finished the race.
In this dimension of the story, you need to use the playing field in accordance to your competence. And in this, once if you bring forward the best teammates who possess this competency in a team. See, many a time it happens that a person has done a phenomenal job in one dimension, but whenever some deviation comes, as a leader, he stops. I'll give you 2 examples on this, on the choosing the right playing field or getting the right competence, for that playing field. Abraham Lincoln, he was asked once that if we give you 1 hour to cut the tree, what you will do? He said that 55 minutes I will spend sharpening my axe and 5 minutes I will cut the tree. A similar example, a similar question was asked to Albert Einstein, that if we give you 1 hour to solve the problems of the world, what you will do? He said 55 minutes I will analyze the problems and 5 minutes I'll try to solve it. In this, the message is that you need to have a proper analysis of your playing field and proper situational analysis and option analysis, and bring forward the right person from the team for the job. If not that, you should induct one in the team and make him do this. The story even doesn't end here. I will show you further dimension of the story, which it's more interesting and which will help the leaders to get the right message.
Had become pretty good friends, and they did some thinking together. Both realized that the last race could have been run much better. So the turtle and rabbit decided to do the last race again, but to run as a team this time. They started off, and this time the rabbit carried the turtle till the riverbank. There, the turtle took over and swam across with the rabbit on his back. On the opposite bank, the rabbit again carried the turtle, and they reached the finishing line together. Both the turtle and rabbit felt a greater sense of satisfaction than they'd felt earlier.
The last part of the story was very interesting, and it gives a fantastic message. Rather than being an individual, you need to succeed as a teammates, and complementing each other competencies, will make you will enhance your productivity. So as a leader, always there is a revolving importance in the team. Whoever possesses that skill set, will come forward and lead the team. So this revolving importance and revolving chair in the leader is very important. Many a time we have seen that there is in a team that there is nobody is called or named as a leader. He is called as a coordinator. As a coordinator, he coordinates his teammates with the equal set of talents, and wherever the talents, each one's competency and the talent is required, he will chair that session. So this is a very important message, from a very frugal, from a story, what we learned from the kindergarten, enhance on a message of leadership in this. See, one of the core competency required for a good leader is to form a competent team. As we see, it's very inevitable in the medical industry. Nowadays, hospitals are not run by doctors; they are run by businessmen, or or certain NGOs, or non-profit organizations like foundations and all. So they does not have competency to run a hospital, but they have competency to form a competent team of doctors and the management, which makes that hospital one of the best treatment center. There are a lot of definitions written about leadership and team building, but one of the best which I like is that in a good team we get extraordinary results from ordinary people. We all are ordinary people, but in a good team we perform extraordinarily. So this is a good team will help to unleash the potential and the talent of an ordinary person, converting the task into extraordinary results. See, if it's a fantastic saying that if you don't prepare, you will spend your time in repair. Preparation is very important. As we said, in the example of Abraham Lincoln and also Einstein, you need to have a thorough analysis of the situation as a leader, and at different level of different leaders, they have a different set of requirements. So they should have a thorough knowledge of that. So they should have a forecast of the situations going to encounter in this, and should be ready with the solutions for that. Many leaders often fails to achieve desired performance mainly due to lack of communication. We have seen whenever I counsel on the leaders in the organization, and when we deep dive into the organization, we mainly find that 90% of the problems are happening due to lack of communication. This lack of communication is such a barrier that everything is going on assumption. And as it is said, that assumption is mother of disaster. So there should be a proper flow of communication. I'll give one very good example in this, that most of the companies are encountering this situation day in, day out. There are 4 people in the team: everybody, somebody, anybody, and nobody. These are the 4 people working in the same team, and there was a task. Now everybody thought that somebody will do it, whereas this task could have been done by anybody, but nobody did it. So in this situation, everybody blames somebody when nobody did what anybody could have done it. In this, it is a very classic example of this, that in an organization, many of the simple tasks are also left out on that, okay, anybody will do it, but nobody does it, at the end, where everybody thought that somebody will do it. So this kind of communication gap we always encounter in the company. Now, in our company, we have a very defined set of communication. We follow 3 rules in communication. One is empowerment, second is suggestion, third is instruction. When any task is given to anyone, when it is labeled as empowerment, then that person has a full empowerment in executing that job. The person entrusting the task is only waiting for the results to come. He does not peep into the methodology or how it's going to execute. So the person who is entrusted the task has full empowerment on the execution. Now, the second is suggestion. A person entrusting the task to somebody, he will give certain suggestions, like from point A to reach to point B. If there are 5 different routes, he will say that point B there is an accident. If you are planning to go there, you may avoid it. But this is a suggestion. Still, the decision is on the part of the person who has been entrusted with the job. If he feels that no, there is a work on the way in route B, which I have to do it, then he may choose that route B. But he feels that no, it's a good you suggested, I will avoid route B and take a route A, B, C, A, C, D, E, anyone. So he can do that. In this suggestion, it improves the quality making, the decision making quality of a person. His decision making ability improves with this suggestion. But still, the final decision lies with the person who has been entrusted this job to accept the suggestion or reject. So this is the second law of communication. The third and most important is this empowerment, suggestion, and the third one is instruction. When there is an instruction label, when there is any task labeled with instruction, that instruction has to be followed with every dot and comma. You cannot deviate from that. If, let's say, from point A to point B, if a person has to go for the task, and if it is an instruction and written, the longest route, he has to follow that longest route. He can't use his own intelligence and say, no, I know a shorter way to do it when it is labeled as instruction. In this instruction method of communication, there is a window where a person who has been entrusted with the job can go to the person who has instructed him only. He cannot bypass and go to his superior or a senior and tell him that, see, your manager has given me this, going to the director, that, this task, and I think it is wrong. I can use a better way to go. Immediately the director will ask him, what is the level of communication in this? If that person says instruction, then the director will say, please go to the manager and talk to him. So there is only one window. He can go only to the person who has instructed this job, or else he has to follow it every dot and comma in this. So there are reasons behind it, because there are many tasks which a leader of that level entrusts to his subordinate through his thorough experience and knowledge. And the junior who is executing the job, or his subordinate who is executing the job, he does not have any idea on that experience or certain things which the person who has entrusted job has encountered or has visualized. So this three ways of communication he follow, and we have a very fantastic harmony in the company as far as communication is followed. Is matter. We'll go next. See, there are different levels of leaders. Now, the leadership needs a skill and will. These are the two things required for a leader. In this matrix, we will understand 4 different levels of leaders. If you go in level 1, a person lacks the skill for the task and can't and won't take the responsibility for the task. Like that person is ignorant to the execution required for this task. So this level of a person is that when somebody entrusts a task without understanding his capability, then he is surely going to encounter surprises and accidents. Like if a person does not know how to ride a bike, and I give him a key to go for a bike and tell him to do the job, he may damage himself and may hurt some other people also. So here, understanding the skill and entrusting the task is very important. The next level is a person is willing to do that task. However, the skill he does not possess. He is very enthusiastic. He is very enthusiastic person. Let's say if a person has ridden a bike for 100,000 kilometers, that does not qualify him to ride to drive a car. He has a will to go further, but he does not have a skill to drive the car. The expertise required for riding a bike is completely different than driving a car. So both are mode of transport, but he cannot say that because I have done this so much of riding, now you give me car. He has to learn the skills of driving the car, and then he can be entrusted with the car. The fourth level, at the third level, when we go, a person is skilled, but his lack of confidence of doing that job. He is fantastically skillful and he understands the entire nitty-gritties of that task, but he does not have the will to take the challenge. This, kind of example normally we see with the professors, with the very respected professors in the college. They are the people who groom our children to become a better person in their professional and a business life. But professors, they possess all the skills, but they don't have the will to take a risk to go into that business or you go into executing that task. So this is one example, where a person has all the skill sets required, but his willingness or risk-taking ability is so low that he cannot be entrusted with that task. And the fourth level is that a person has a skill also, and he has a will to execute the job. This is the best person whom the person can be entrusted with the task. It's in the organization, the tasks are being divided and distributed as per the skills and the will of the person. It's not that if a person is talking good, will be entrusted a task. He should have that skill sets and he should have that confidence of taking the responsibility of the end results. So that person, if chosen as a leader, will have a better performance on a situational leadership in the hierarchy. Now, there are 4 E's, effective situational leadership leaders, I should possess. First and foremost of the E is education. Of course, education is a game changer. Many times I wonder on many people that, what took them to that position. When we see of our former president of India, Professor Dr. Abul Kalam, he sat on the highest chair in our India as a president of India. That one thing what took him there was his education. He came from a very, very modest background as a fishing village in South India. But what took him to the highest chair make him sit on the highest chair was his education. That education is a game changer in a leader. If a person possesses education, that will have an edge on the others because the structured education will help him to excel and go further in the life. The second E required is experience. We see many a times a fresher when he graduates, the first thing what he seeks is experience. He is not aspiring for a high value job or a very high position in the company. He is always aspiring that I should look for a good company where I can apply my education and get experience, which will help me to boil this together and get me a better results, and then he can go to a better position. So a person, leader should possess a set of this experience, and this experience along with the education will take him to a higher level. The third is exposure. Many a times we see that the person has a fantastic education, has a very good experience, but he is not given opportunity for that. So if opportunity is not given to you, let's say, many a times I say that there are better players than Tendulkar in India. There are better singers than, some of the best singers in in the film industry, music industry, but they don't get exposure. Now with certain platforms coming up, on the TVs and all, so that they get such exposure. So this value of exposure is also very much. A person possessing education, and experience, if he is not getting a right exposure or is not given opportunity to use his experience and education, that will not happen. So as a leader, a person always should see that, a person has experience, education, then that person should be given exposure. So then the good results will come out. The fourth is empowerment. This is a very classic example we have seen in many organizations where a leader has a fantastic team, a team which has educated people in the team, they have good experience, they have good exposures in the previous company or previous assignments they have done, but the leader is not empowering them anything. He limits the powers to himself, thinking that nobody can do better than him. Of course, you cannot find his clone in the world, but this, if he does not empower, then the team will get fatigued, or they will get demotivated, and he will lose the good team in no time. So a leader should have all these four things: education, experience, exposure, and empowerment. Empowering his team to execute the job, so that will unleash their talents and help them to apply their knowledge, experience, and exposure with this empowerment to get better results. I will give one very good example of our former President of India, Professor Dr. Abdul Kalam.
I will give an incident. This is all of you who are assembled here, all of you. Remember this incident. 1979. SLV-3 satellite launch vehicle. I was the project director, mission director. My mission is to put the satellite in the orbit. Thousands of people worked nearly 10 years. I reached the Sriharikota, and it's the launch pad. Countdown was going on. T-minus 4 minutes, T-minus 5 minutes, T-minus 1 minute, T-minus 40 seconds. Computer put a hold. Don't launch it. Computer says don't launch it. I am the mission director. I have to take decision. Everything is on. Behind me there are 6 experts. They saw the computer database coming in and screen, and they see the pictures in the screen. They said there's a problem. The problem is there's a leakage in the system, in the control system. But immediately calculation, no problem. We have got sufficient fuel and oxidation for control system is control the rocket to the required altitude, and we can go ahead. Now, of course, my expert's view, but I took a decision. Problem is mine. Finally, I took a decision. I bypassed the computer. I launched the system. Okay, I launched the system. Apollo went. First stage worked in a 4-stage rocket, and second stage got mad. It went to spin. Instead of putting the satellite in the orbit, it put in the Bay of Bengal. 1979, it was a failure. It was a failure. First time I experienced my failure. How do you manage the failure? Success I can manage. So at that time, a great man, a great leader, also Satish Dhawan. He comes to me, I'm very tired working nearly for months. It makes me up, come, let us go for a press conference. Press is meeting there, like this number of people, world press, with photo, this and that, all the gadgets they are there. I was really frightened, I will be the culprit. Because I'm the project and mission director. What Satish Dhawan said, Chairman, Indian Space Research Organization said, dear friends, we have failed today. It's the first time I have to do all the success, all the failure is, I want to support my technologists and scientists and staff so that next year they succeed. So he took the whole thing himself. And then media asked, you put Bay of Bengal so many crores, you have put it. Like that, a lot of criticism. He received the criticism. He assured them in a year we will succeed with our team. It's a very good team. Next year, here only interesting happened. Next year, July 18th, 1980, when he succeeded, Professor Dhawan said, you go and conduct the press conference. You follow what it means. It means when the failure occurred, the leader took it up. When the success came, he used his team. That's the first.
Fantastic moral we get from this clip of Honorable Professor Dr. Abdul Kalam. That the leader should possess that quality to share the success with his team. And when there is a failure, he should take the responsibility upon him. Normally it happens reverse. People, are dying to take success of the teammates and put a feather in his cap. And when the failure comes, they always try to blame game and find a shoulder to lay that failure upon him. So this is, a fantastic model. In this, what we observed is there were 3 levels of leaders in this. One is Professor Dr. Abul Kalam as a mission director, one Dr. Dhawan as a chairman of ISRO, and the third leaders were the set of experts who were along with Dr. Abul Kalam. So there are 3 levels of leaders in this, what we see, and each of the experts had their own team working below them. So this situational leadership, who took the decision, the third level as an expert they suggest, and the decision was taken by the second level as a mission director. But who took the blame? The top person sitting as a chairman. So this is a fantastic case study of how the success is shared and the failure taken upon him. This is one characteristics a leader has to have in him to have a better performance from his teammates. Now there are 5 levels of leadership. It is very well described by John Maxwell. When I was studying my leadership, I looked upon his work, and he's one of the fantastic leadership coach. And his 5 level of leadership, is defined in that there is, first is a position leader. People follow him because they have to. There are certain leaders we see in an organization or even in certain places where the followers are compelled to follow him. This is a situation where we see in the very lower category where a person livelihood is dependent on that person, and that is because of his livelihood he is just following him. The moment he gets an alternative to that, he will leave from that, because in this kind of leadership it's very autocratic, and a person does not behave like a leader. It behaves like a Raja or Maharaja more, and treats the teammates in a very inhuman way. So this is the lowest form of leadership. The next form is the next level is a permission leadership. Here, people follow him, the leader, because they want to. That person has done something good, so they want to follow him. And in this kind of leadership, there is a relationship between the leader and the follower. So in this relationship and in this bond, so there is a will. So the person follows him because of his bond with him. This bond can be relations. This bond can be like uncle and nephew. This bond can be like a father and son. So this is a second level of leadership where they want to follow him. Now we go to the third level of leadership, is a production leadership. This is people follow him because that person has done something for the organization. When a junior or a new induction is done on in the organization, there are certain names in the organization always echoing that this person has done fantastic work for the organization. So they would like to work under him to get his experience, or get his and get the knowledge what he possesses and the experience what he does. So these are the leaders who have already shown results, has already helped the followers to gain something from that leader. So a person are longing to follow him in this organization. So he has done something wonderful for the organization. Thus, people are longing to follow him. The fourth level of leadership is reproduction. It's a people's development. In this level of leadership, the people follow them because a leader has done something for the team. So he's not only as a leader, he possesses a lot of emotions, and this is connected with him. So he is sympathized with the follower, with his teammates, and also empathize with them. So in this set of leadership, a person, the teammates follow him because the leader invests his time and efforts in developing the teammates. So, and grooming them. It's like a coach, and it's like a guru and a coach, helping him to achieve to the next level. Because in this level of leadership, a person thinks that my teammates are future leaders. So, grooming them will help to create a successor. So this is one of the high level of leadership, but yet it is not the topmost. The topmost comes, sorry, as a pinnacle. Well, people follow them and respect them for what they represent. Here it comes, it's a value based. Here it comes as a person's that aura is such that the people follow him. Like a classic example we can give for this is Mahatma Gandhi. Billions of people follow him. Not everybody had met him in the course of his journey in the struggle of independence, but everybody followed him, looking at the work he has done and the values he represents, and what ambition he has and what his values are. In similar way, we can say as a Nelson Mandela, or we can say as Imam Hussein, like he gave up his life for the values. All these examples are the pinnacle leaders. They live for the cause and the value of the mankind and humanity. So these are the leaders who influence the masses. And when I say masses, it goes beyond boundaries. So people have not met him also. They are not his teammates. They are not working in the organization, but yet they follow him. Follow him for many reasons, for his values and what he's done for the humanity. So these are the 5 set of leaderships what we saw. Now the leaders, who is called a leader? If I'm walking alone, I'm not called a leader. If somebody is following me, then I'm called a leader. So normally a leader creates followers, but a great leader always creates leaders. So he always looks upon his followers as a future leaders and inculcate sense of leadership, the values of leadership, the characteristics of leadership among the followers, creating each one like him. So that is the greatest form of the leadership. In the entire section, what we see is that the leadership requirement, what is a fundamental requirement of the leadership, is decision-making ability. The leaders, they create strategies and this decision-making ability, taking people along with him in the journey of excellence, making everyone happy, not for the relation they have with them, but looking at the task and looking at their future. So that makes a leader as a great leader. So the difference between your yesterday and tomorrow depends on the decision you take today. So the leaders, whatever they take decision today, that will be the game changer or a differentiator between your yesterday and tomorrow. We have seen many examples of a company or a person who started as a very modest beginning or a very naive beginning, but they are known names in the society or in the world because of certain decisions they took in the journey, which made them what they are today. Thank you. This is a very short and a synopsis, a very condensed form of leadership what I gave you. Of course, this leadership is an enormous topic, and there are so many further dimensions and so many great things a person will learn. But this was just a teaser, and I hope that everybody has something to take home from this presentation. And I thank Madam Simranji and Mr. Vikas, our dear friend, so for giving me this opportunity to conduct this session in the best of my capacity.
That's really kind of you, Dr. Mustafa. It's been absolutely overwhelming for all of us, trying to rejuvenate ourselves and our energies at this point of time. We have a couple of questions if you may kindly allow us. I would like to know, in a world of today where even the leaders are absolutely unaware of the situation, of the outer world and the inner world, could you please highlight on how leaders could show everyone that they're not nervous and they're very confident about what the future will be?
Yes, see, currently we live in a very volatile and hostile world. Yeah, so, we used to hear in India that Panchvarshiya Yojana, 5 years planning commission. So earlier we had a 5 years planning for our country. In the company also they used to have an annual planning. So they used to forecast, because, earlier we lived in the companies, the departments and the divisions performed in silos. They were not interconnected. Even the countries were not interconnected. They were all confined within the boundary of their own, of that country itself. So we were living in unshared certainties. Unshared certainties are that I am only worried about my things and my job description or my leadership and my team. I'm only worried about that because it is a unshared certainties. In my field, I know what's going to happen, which is, I'm ready to encounter and forecast and encounter that. Now we live in the world which is connected to each other. Even the departments are connected to each other. One thing goes wrong here will affect so many other departments or so many. One thing happened in China, affected the entire world. So it is, now we live in shared uncertainties. Our everything is shared and still it is uncertain. So, this is a saying of our dear friend Mr. Usman Sultan, who was ex-CEO of Do. This shared uncertainties and uncertain shared things. So we are very much connected. In this time, what one has to do is to narrow the time frame of the planning. So from 1 year, the company started planning quarterly. So they try to compare this quarter with the previous year and forecast the next quarter. Now it is take every day as it comes. So in a very hostile and volatile situation, a leader should have ability to condense the time frame of the planning, yet the planning has to be dynamic. Like it is said, that you cannot enter into a war without a plan, but no plan works in war. So you should have a plan, but your plan should not be rigid, that it cannot adjust, and it should be dynamic to the changes happening and the changes are so fast and rapid that you should adhere to this. So once a leader, if he has that ability to have a dynamic plan and do changes and calibrate accordingly, definitely, there the success will go high and the failure will go low.
Sure, thank you so much. We have a question from Ghanshyamji. What leadership being practiced today by the Chinese government in decision making for image building and the maintenance with India and the world? You almost touched upon China, so if you could kindly highlight us on this.
Of course, this is a political question, but I will give you from the leadership perspective.
Sure.
See, if you say which form of leadership is good or bad, it's a cycle. One goes from a democratic to autocratic and again to democratic. So, people get, after some time, they will say, okay, this model is not workable, let's adhere to the next model. When you go to the next model, you say that, okay, again, this is not workable. See, when the Russia, USSR, when it got fragmented to many different countries, at the same time, European Union formed the association of different countries. So, there is nothing as a right model, but of course, as a leader, certain characteristics should be common among him, as, even a little bit of modesty is good for a king or a leader. So, he should possess the human qualities. It's not that, what the autocratic system is good or a democratic is good. See, in a autocratic situation, we see fantastic examples of a good autocratic governance. like say, we live in the Middle East where it is the monarchy still is over here. But we see fantastic results of such harmony and peace that we don't think of any other model in this. In India, we have a democracy, but 70, 80 percent of the people does not know the true meaning of democracy. Democracy does not mean that I'm allowed to do anything, or I have all the rights. These are the two sides of the coin, the rights and duties. So of course, anything it is said that anything in excess is poison. So is and it is another thing. What is well said is the power corrupts, and the more power, it's more corruption. So the centralization of the power should not be too much in a way that it corrupts a person, and then the entire citizens of that country or that place will suffer. So this balance of democracy and autocracy has to be maintained, which is very well seen in this part of the world we live. And if everybody possesses then all the freedom to do everything, and yet the control mechanisms are put in good place.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We have a session. Should leadership be a personal agenda, or should it be for the team? The last one that we like to, request you to answer, please.
So, a person first needs to be a leader to make others as a leader. So personal agenda is always there for him to become a good leader, and then make sure that the team also is groomed in a way that they are future leaders of that company or organization. But when this question is asked, is the leadership inborn skills or acquired? I say it's 50-50. If a person has an inborn certain leadership skills, but then it is not honed and not sharpened to the requirement, then he does not become a good leader. So many a time we have seen as a legacy, the king's son becomes, or the crown prince become the king, but he does not possess that good leadership. So that thing, is certain things are acquired. That is an acquired leadership. But if he is not groomed, like we have seen in the Mughal emperor, few of them emperors were good, and we have seen that some of them were so nasty that the entire that phase of that era has been written in the dark patch. So this kind of things are certain acquired and certain honed skills. So first a person needs to become a good leader, then make sure that he creates successors and he creates good leaders. So that is the hierarchy.
That's absolutely wondrous. We are truly thankful to you, Dr. Mustafa Saasa, for the most amazing session that we had here today. I want to request Mr. Vikash Mittersain for his closing remarks as well.
So therefore, this is one of the most extraordinary talks that I have had to listen, or I had an opportunity to listen to. I know this guy pretty well, but I didn't know he is all this. The next time I see him, it's going to be from different eyes. Thank you very much. We can go ahead and close it.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the opportunity. And
yes.
Thank you, Ms. Simran, for being my host. And it was a wonderful session. Thank you all.
Thank you, Dr. Mustafa Saasa. If you may permit us, if you can just have the videos on for a group photo op, only by your permission. Is
Yes,
that all right? Thank you so much. So I'm going to request my lovely team, my lovely crew is here with us. My humble thanks to Girish and Siddhi for all the inputs. And Girish, if we could please have the videos on. And everybody, please kindly join us for a group photo op. For all those who are new and who joined us for the first time today, I want to request you to kindly send your details in the chat box, your email ID, so that we could connect with you and let you know about the future webinars as well. So meanwhile, while we have all the videos on, I'm going to take this opportunity of thanking the beautiful family of IBG. No matter how the situation, all we need to do is just think think, have your vision. And of course, this is the time for really thinking very, very unique, and you never know what idea might click. I'm going to take this opportunity of thanking India Business Group Chamber of Commerce for these very amazing webinars, which take you into a different world altogether of positivity and optimism. So our humble thanks to each and every one of you. My name is Simran Ahuja, and it's time for us to have the countdown of 3 for the right photo op. So let's smile. 3, 2, and a click. The last one. 3, 2, 1. Look forward to meeting you for the next webinar. Till then, my humble thanks to Mr. Vikash Mitasen, Ms. Priya, Girish Siddhi, and our very special guest with the extraordinary talk, Dr. Mustafa Saasa. Shukran.